welcome to the Theorem podcast. This is your host, Aspasia Provou, and I'm here to shed light on alternative contemporary knowledge and suggest feasible ways it can be incorporated into our lives. My guest is Agapi Liapaki. Agapi is the founder of Play and Learn Education Center in Crete and an education entrepreneur. She started working with children when she was 18 years old, and she has been an innovator in this field for over 25 years. She has admirable experience in early education, music education, and early childhood education programs. Her passion for education goes way beyond the education center she owns. Her goal is to create developmentally appropriate centers and put the children first and to educate the public on how to bring the best out of children at any given moment. It's so good to see you, Agapi. Welcome to Theorem.
Thank you, Aspasia. Thank you for having me today.
So, my first question about early education is when kids first go to school, the image that I have in my mind is that they go to school to play, to draw, um,
Mhm.
I don't know, to play with, Play Doh or whatever. And I'm wondering, is this an appropriate time for a child of 2 years old, two and a half, three, to learn life skills?
Oh, what a wonderful subject. Thank you for asking the question. Today, I was talking with a couple of parents about life skills
Uh huh.
and soft skills,
Uh huh.
and we were talking that you know it's always an opportunity at any giving time to teach the children how to problem solve,
Mm-hmm.
how to be creative, how to communicate, how to be able to collaborate with others. And this is all through play, and
Mm-hmm.
this is all, it happens when they enter, mostly when they enter preschool. Um, it happens there because of the fact that they're with others, with a
Mm-hmm.
group of other children, and away from home. So yes, at any given moment, this is an opportunity. Of course, they learn a lot of other things through play, such as you said, they learn how to draw, they learn how to use their fine motor skills, their gross motor skills. But for me, life skills is the number one thing that children need to know, especially in nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Soft skills as well. You know, um, in the next few years, I think a lot of all of the children will get a degree. You know, everybody's gonna get a degree, but who is gonna take the position? Who is gonna get the job? I think is a question, and the answer is how well you can present yourself,
Mm-hmm.
how well you can express these skills that you have embraced, and what an opportunity for a preschool child or for a toddler. What a wonderful time it
Mm-hmm.
is for them to work on them when they're 1 year old, 0 year old.
Mm-hmm.
You can have this opportunity when you're, even when you're a baby,
Mm-hmm.
to with your caregiver to work on those skills.
Arapi, is it true that 90% of the brain is developed in the first year of development of life? And is this true?
Yes, that's right. 90% of the brain is developed until, age 5.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine how many brain synapses are happening throughout their life, between those 3 years. And actually, 0 to 3 are the
Mm-hmm.
most important years And as the time goes by, less and less synapses are being created in their brain. So this is a wonderful opportunity that a lot of parents do not know about,
Uh-huh.
how important is the decision that they will make as far as, a high quality preschool program versus a program that's just, is there to support just, them being there with no specific curriculum, with no teacher training, with no curriculum assessment or children's assessment, no
Mm-hmm.
program
Mm-hmm.
assessment as well. These are things that are really, really important for a
Mm-hmm.
preschool program and are really important for the parents who would like to enroll their children. They need
Mm-hmm.
to know about those things.
That's very useful to know because I think many of us tend to underestimate this these first part of a child's life. And we think that it should be devoted to play in a pleasant environment and safe environment. And we don't take into consideration that it's so important in shaping the child's future.
Yeah,
Um,
it's an investment. And I always tell the parents, if you would like to invest through
mhm,
through your children's education, it's best if you do it when they're very, very young. Actually, there is a study
mhm,
held by a very famous psychologist, and it was run several years ago. And it was following children in preschool years for about 40 years.
uh-huh,
And they found out that if you invest $1, that was conducted in the United States. So, and that was the high scope, very preschool study. And they found out that for every dollar that they would invest, a parent or the government would invest in early childhood education, the outcome would be $16 for $1 that you would invest because of the less crime that is going to
wow.
happen.
Uh-huh.
Yes, less pregnant women, more
You mean teenage
success.
women?
Yeah, when they reach 23 or older, they will have a better jobs, better pay jobs. So the more you invest in early childhood education, the better outcomes you will see when you grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the unfortunate part because we cannot, give the feedback. You don't see the feedback and to right away,
Mm-hmm.
but you see the feedback after so many years. But thankfully, there are so many studies that were conducted about this age that now we know.
Wow. Because I think parents, from what I see around me, and parents tend to invest more in the later years of education or the last years
Mhm.
of education. So what you're saying is pretty important, and we should pay attention to this since it has been
Yeah,
proven.
yeah, it has been proven, and there's a lot of research on it,
Hmm.
a lot of independent research institutions that have conducted other researches on that, and they have found out the same lessons are the same, the same lessons.
Uh-huh.
So it's just a thing that, I think the public is not very well educated on that, and very not educated, but informed. So, you know, it's we need to be the advocates.
Hmm.
Early childhood educators need to be the advocates in order to communicate this important message,
Hmm.
because anything that you learn at this age, it's something that you will carry on for the rest of your life. And it's not just the child that is going to carry on for the rest of his life, but also is the parent that gets educated on
Hmm.
that. Like, I'm going to give you an example. The other day I had a mom that came over, and she was upset about her child's scratch on her cheek. And she was questioning the teacher how it happened, and that her child is really careful and she doesn't, so she was trying to figure out how it happened, obviously really upset about it. And a lot of times we don't want the children to get into conflict, and we don't
Mm-hmm.
want the children to have problems, because this creates some uh, maybe influences, maybe attract, maybe it doesn't, maybe brings memories to us,
Mm-hmm.
maybe childhood memories, or maybe triggers things that we have not thought about, or maybe things like that. So we try to avoid and not to discuss things like that, or we get upset.
Yes. Yes.
So the more that we bring up things like that, more we more talk about the social and emotional development of the children at this age, the better outcome is going to be for the parent later on.
Mm-hmm.
Because after, we talked about it, and we said, what happened and all of that, and we said, that this is a great opportunity for her daughter to be able, at this safe place of this school, to be able to communicate, listen to her,
Mm-hmm.
talk about what happened, validate her feelings, discuss with her, what are her options,
Mm-hmm.
and move on to the solution of the problem,
Mm-hmm.
instead of putting it under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
um, it's so much better for the parent as well, because the parent also gets ready for later on, when when the child goes to elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
and then probably the parent won't have the same opportunity to get connected with a teacher, just because academics is more, children are more focused on academics and so on. So it's
Right.
so much better if we focus on these years
Mm-hmm.
to for everyone to get educated, for the parents, and the children to be able to work on things, instead of letting it go, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe getting upset about it. But I want to tell you something about the parents and the children.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just them, it's also the teachers. The
Uh-huh.
teachers also get educated as well. We all learn, me myself as well. And it's it's a it's wonderful that we learn, and we need to learn, and we need to grow personally
Mm-hmm.
with with parents as well. Just it is so important for us. I think this is one profession that is so much connected to your personal development
Yes,
than any
absolutely.
other. Maybe it's one of those professions that you cannot preach unless you have experienced
Mm-hmm.
things
Mm-hmm.
like that in your life. And I usually advise the teachers who work in early childhood education to have someone to talk about this. Go to psychologist, go for some consultation. It's really really important, because everyone affects everyone, and it's really important to see the clear truth, and talk about your truth, and
Mm-hmm.
talk about
Mm-hmm.
and talk about the child's truth as well,
Uh-huh.
and be able to see what is real here, and what is created by my trauma, or by
Mm-hmm.
somebody
Mm-hmm.
else's trauma.
Right, right. And oh, I can think of so many teachers that I had, that
Mhm.
their immaturity, in some way or
Mhm.
another, had an impact on the students. And yeah, I truly believe that anybody who's dealing with children, parents, and teachers,
Mhm.
should work on their personal development. I absolutely agree with that.
Mhm. 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 Yeah.
Agapi, I know that one of your personal passions
Mhm.
is on conflict resolution. Could you
Yeah.
please talk about this and how it is related to preschoolers?
Okay. Well, recently I've read the acronyms of a word. The word is soul, and
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. I do not know, I don't remember where I've read it, but I think this is really, really important. It stands out to us if we break it into, the different words that
Mm-hmm.
it projects. Um, and it's going to give you a clear idea of what happens before we resolve the problem. So soul stands for silent,
Uh-huh.
observe, understanding, and listening.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, so the soul is so much more important, I think, in the beginning of dealing with, with the problem, because a lot of times we just go to the problem and we don't even take the time to understand or to observe, or we try to bring the solution and be there for them, and just being that Mother Teresa, person that I'm going to be there. I'm going to, help this situation and all of that. And a lot of times it's just standing back and observing and being silent and listening. Listen to what is happening right now, and
Mm-hmm.
then prepare yourself mentally in order to move on to the next step. And I think when we do that, we take some time, then we can move on to, let's go and talk calmly, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
approach calmly and be neutral in order to respect
Mm-hmm.
all points of view. So when there's a conflict, the very first thing we would like to do is to just go there. And usually the teachers say, "Oh, no, no, don't take this toy. Somebody else had it." But it's so much important to be neutral and see,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening, and,
Mm-hmm.
and watch. And then we need to give recognition to the feelings that the children have at that point.
Uh-huh.
Just
Uh-huh.
because when we see two children fighting over a toy, um, sometimes we do not know who is the person who had it first,
Uh-huh.
and who's right and who's wrong. And so it's really important to listen to both sides and to gather information, to tell children that you want to hear both of them, not
Mm-hmm.
just, not to take parts, and ask open ended questions that will help them describe the details and the actions, such as, how did that happen, and or why did you do this, and then acknowledge the feeling. So I see you, I see the tears running through your face. I understand that something you don't you don't like something. Obviously, you're upset about something, aren't you? Um, and to help them verbalize what they feel,
Mm-hmm.
that's also something that will help them understand what's happening in themselves, instead of us,
Uh-huh.
you know, telling them, how they feel.
Right.
The more they talk about it, the more verbal they are about it, um, the more they're able to empty out
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
feelings.
Right.
And yeah. So the very first step: approach calmly, acknowledge feelings, gather information, and then restate the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Restating the problem instead of solving the problem, first of all, it gives them the opportunity to think
Mm-hmm.
about what happened, to bring it back to their memory, who had it first. And then it calms them down because somebody else is taking care of them at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, the teachers are trained to authentically discuss with them, what is happening, instead of taking, turns. And when the teachers do that and they state the problem, then they teach them that it's okay not to use harsh words, such as, because the kids say, I hate you, I don't like you, I'm not going to invite you to my party. So they're more mellow, and they use those words that are important for them to socially, to get through a situation like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's also important. And the last one is to ask for ideas, how to approach, and how to approach for solutions, and how to choose one together. And in that specific step, a lot of times when I was a teacher, the children would just they didn't want to bring any ideas on how to proceed on the problem, but
Mm-hmm.
they just would walk away. And that's also a solution to the problem, you
What do
know
you mean walk away?
walk away. They didn't want to solve, they didn't want to bring an idea on, who is going to have first the toy. Is it going to be
So,
me, or
so
is it
having the problem reframed by the teacher was enough for them to feel
exactly?
liberated and having it
Yes,
solved. They
that was
felt that they had it solved.
they had it solved. And a lot of times, because I was trained to follow one step, two steps, three, all those steps.
Uh huh.
And I was like, why they don't want to follow step number six or number, I don't know what number it was. So I was like, what am I doing wrong? But
Mm-hmm.
then I realized that, listening, just being there for them, being available,
Mm-hmm.
for them to participate in what was happening, and being able to restate what the problem was, that was enough for them, because it gave them the opportunity to vent out,
Mm-hmm.
to to state it the way it was supposed to be stated,
Mm-hmm.
and then to move on to the next thing.
Yes.
So it
Wow.
it it took me some time to understand that, and then I had peace with that as well.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
This
Sometimes it's
process,
okay.
this
Hmm.
process sounds perfectly valid for adult situations, right?
Correct. Correct. And I must tell you that a lot of times I've been using this when I have consultations with
Mm-hmm.
parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like for example, the other day, I had a dad coming here, and he really wanted to vent out. He really wanted to express how, there was a situation with his son and with another child, and I knew that what he really wanted me to do is to be there and listen,
Mm-hmm.
and not to be able to tell him, that I'm here, I'm going to support you and all of that. But he knew that already, and he validated that at the end of our meeting. But it was mostly that, I'm here to tell you, my concern, which was actually something that was bothering him for a long, long time. And it was something that, as a man, not just as a father, was something that was bothering him when he was a child. So
Mm-hmm.
he would see that a lot of those things that are happening to his son happen to him. And so, that was something that, he, after, we talked about it, then, immediately saw that, that his body posture was so much more calmer,
Mm-hmm.
and his tone of voice changed, and he was ready to listen, and to acknowledge some things, and also to start, working on, what, situations, and what can I do the next time when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to approach my son next time? So
So
yeah. So
is our parenting journey an opportunity to heal our childhood trauma?
yes, Aspasia, this is such a wonderful question. As a mom,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I can tell you that I'm going through the same stages of development as my children do.
Uh-huh.
I've just, I've realized that when they were young,
Uh-huh.
and they were children, now they're, teenagers. So when they were younger, a lot of my experiences would arise from that time of my life when I was a child, and how others were treating me, and how I was, I was what I was expected to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now that my children are teenagers, I'm just, I'm into this. Uh, going through a process in my life that I'm reevaluating things, processing different things. I'm trying to see, what the next chapter of my life is going to be, and I'm preparing, I think, myself in
Mm-hmm.
order to reach that time when my kids will move away, and I'm going to be by sort of, at home with my husband and myself, to find ourselves, dealing with us, what to do, and and what's my next step. So definitely, I feel that this is a parenting trip, a
Mm-hmm.
journey that every parent relates to it,
Mm-hmm.
when, from the time that they were born, and then it never ends.
Well,
It
yes, the
never
challenges
ends.
evolve.
Exactly, it never ends. And they do evolve, and they change, and the priorities do change. And but this is wonderful, I think, because I always tell the teachers and the parents that we've been talking with, that, I feel that a lot of times children are just like angels. They come, when they come, they're just like angels, and they help us change,
Mm-hmm.
and they help us be better selves, the
Mm-hmm.
better version of our self. And if it was not for them, we would not have changed. I
Mm-hmm.
would not have been the same person. But because of them, I feel it's worth the time, and worth the energy, and worth the sacrifices, and worth everything that, um, we've decided that we need to do in life.
Um, Agapi, having worked for so many years with parents and teachers and children, do you have any tips for us adults on how to learn these lessons that our interaction with children are teaching us in a, I don't know, more effective way?
Hmm. um, being being a teacher for many many years without having my own kids,
Mm-hmm.
I was more like looking in the world in more a black and white sort of face. Oh, this is, if it's not, day, it's night. If it's not, black, is white. But then I've realized that the beauty of life, and the beauty
Mm-hmm.
of our world, is somewhere in between. Because it might sound a little bit more difficult, or may be a little bit more difficult, but I think that's the reality. that a lot of times that parents come and say, oh, I never give sugar, to my children,
Yeah.
or we don't do this, we never, you know and I say, I understand. In this school, though, I tell them that we try to listen to both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more we're able to see the other side, to see what the other person is feeling, or is talking about, or is watching, or being able to see that, it's going to make us better people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that through the parents that I have worked with here at the school. And this is maybe a tip that I remind myself in hard times. And I remind myself when I'm really happy or I'm really sad. I usually say to myself, it's okay. Maybe it's not that catastrophic, whatever, happened. Maybe it's not as bad as you think. But I usually say that when I'm trying, at least say that
Mm-hmm.
when I'm extremely happy and I'm flying over the moon, and I'm saying, yes, yes, you're so excited, and all of that. But try to see what's the reality, and try to see, put it, just bring it to where it is. And I think when we do that, then we live a calmer life, a life in peace. And
Mm-hmm.
that's my goal for the next few years, to live in peace as much as I can.
Okay, so in a way, this goes back again to communication. And
Uh-huh.
well, these relationships with our children, or whether they are our children or our students, um, they they help us grow if we're able to really communicate with them and really be able to see that things are not black and white, as you said. And
Mm,
hmm, yes, your tip to not get, too overwhelmed with your emotions uh,
exactly.
is a great one. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Um, as I grow, and I become older, I've realized the joy that I have talking with people and communicating, as you said. Um, and I respect more the time that people dedicate to
Mm-hmm.
me, or I
Mm-hmm.
dedicate to them.
Mm-hmm.
And um, and I and I feel grateful for all the opportunities that life have given me to meet wonderful people. So this is something that I really want to do. I want to travel. I want to meet more people. I want to get to learn from them. So this is definitely, keep
Mm-hmm.
learning, keep communicating, and try to see all shades of life. That's it.
Agapi, you mentioned time, devoting time. And I think
Mm,
that this is one of the, in my opinion, I don't know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, one of the most important um, things we can give to children, our time and attention. Because
mm,
as far as I understand this, children see and understand their value through that, through our attention and through
mm,
what we reflect back to them. What is your
mhm.
take on this?
Ah, I would add to that, um, time, yes, but also I would say give them authentic time,
Yes, being
because you
really
can spend
present.
time, be really present. Exactly. Yeah. Because you can be with children, but not really be there,
Mm-hmm.
and the children need people that are real and they're authentic, and they present themselves for what they are, and to be there because they really want to be there, and because they know why
Mm-hmm.
they're there, and
Ooh,
to be
important.
able to, yeah, why they're there, and to be able to help them move on to their life by planning
Mm-hmm.
what's happening, helping them to elaborate on what they want to do or what's happening in their life, and all of that, and then being able to reflect,
Mm-hmm.
help them to reflect upon what have they have done, what they have observed, what they have experienced. And I think through this process, then time is going to be valuable. Time is going to be more valuable, I think, uh,
Mm-hmm.
not just for the child, but also for the teachers and for whoever, the parents, whoever is been
Mm-hmm.
dealing with them. Give some value to the time that you are there. And of course, there's always not that free, happy time that, whatever, you can do whatever you can do, but, and just be happy and just take free time. But it's also important to help them realize who they are and why they're there and
Mm-hmm.
where they want to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're talking about quality time, and quality time is quality, good quality time for every party involved. It
Yes,
cannot be just for one party.
yes, yes. Um, Actually, the cycle, the plan, do, review,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
um, the cycle of where we are and if we applied to our jobs or to our personal lives,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be more meaningful, and it's going to make us a little bit less stress, I think, because if
Mm-hmm.
we know that there's, that we need to consider about ourselves, what is our mission in life? What do we want to do? Do we have a plan about that? For how long are we going to do that? And then start working on it, then it gives our lives a better um, a better, better understanding on why am I here on planet Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and it affects people around you, and not just your family. Of course, your family number one, but it affects a lot of other people around you, and it um, makes them realize things about themselves, and then the community as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel that in any job that you always have the opportunity to affect and be able to help out people around you, for just to leave your stigma in
Mm-hmm.
life. And it's nice if we are able to think like that in life.
Yes, and at the same time, we are also better examples, better role models for
Mhm.
children, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And we want to make a better world. That's why we became educators. I think that's the mission of an educator, because we want to create a better version of ourselves, a better version of the community, of the world. So
Wonderful, wonderful. Happy, thank you so, so much for this conversation.
I thank you, Aspasia, for giving me the opportunity to talk about what I love.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Theorem podcast. Connect with me on social media at Aspasia Provou and at theorem.podcast and share your thoughts. You may support us on Patreon. Visit the website aspasiaprovu.com/theorem for more. Τα λέμε σύντομα. Meaning talk to you soon in Greek. Aspasia's Theorem podcast does not provide advice, medical or any other kind. It just presents the opinions of its host and guests. If you have any specific problems, please visit your physician or a medical expert for help. Anything said should not be taken as a replacement for medical, clinical, or professional advice, diagnosis, or medical intervention. The episodes of Aspasia's Theorem podcast may at times cover sensitive topics, including, but not limited to, mental health, nutrition, health, politics, spirituality, alternative medicine, energy healing, and the use of plant medicines. You're advised to refrain from continuing if you are adversely impacted by any of these topics.